Becky Lynch injury and title relinquishment YouTube script. This is devastating. Becky Lynch, the man, one of the toughest and most resilient wrestlers in WWE history, is reportedly being forced to relinquish her championship after suffering a horrible injury. Are you kidding me right now? After everything Becky has fought through, after clawing her way to the top multiple times, after proving she's one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all generation, she's having it all ripped away by an injury that nobody saw coming. This is heartbreaking for Becky, it's catastrophic for the women's division, and it raises serious questions about whether WWE is pushing their talent too hard. I'm about to break down exactly what happened, what this means for Becky's career, and why this situation has me absolutely furious at how wrestling treats its biggest stars. Before we dive into this tragedy, tell me, what's the worst timed injury you've ever seen in wrestling? Drop your answer below because this might top them all. The wrestling world is in shock right now as reports are emerging that Becky Lynch suffered a serious injury and is being forced to vacate her championship. This isn't a storyline. This isn't a work to set up a surprise return. This is a real injury that's derailing one of the hottest championship runs in recent memory. Let's start with what we know, because in situations like this, rumors and speculation run wild and we need to separate fact from fiction. According to multiple sources, Becky sustained this injury during a match or segment yesterday, and the severity was immediately apparent. Medical staff evaluated her, and the decision was made that she cannot continue as champion. Now, the specific nature of the injury is still being kept somewhat private, which is Becky's right. Wrestlers deserve medical privacy. But the fact that she's being forced to relinquish the title tells us this is serious. WWE doesn't make champions vacate unless absolutely necessary. This could be a shoulder injury, which Becky has dealt with before in her career. It could be a knee injury, which are common and devastating in wrestling. It could be a concussion, which WWE takes very seriously in the modern era. Or it could be something else entirely that requires immediate surgery and extensive recovery time. Whatever it is, the timeline for return is apparently long enough that WWE can't justify keeping the title on her. That means we're talking months, not weeks. That means Becky is facing a long road to recovery. What body part do you think Becky injured? And have you ever dealt with a serious injury yourself? Share your experience. Let's talk about the timing of this, because it couldn't be worse for Becky Lynch. She was in the middle of what could have been a legendary championship reign. She was having incredible matches. She was elevating everyone she worked with. She was proving once again why she's called the man. And now, at what should be the peak of her run, it's being cut short by an injury. That's not just disappointing, that's tragic. Because we'll never know what this reign could have become. We'll never see the matches that were being planned. We'll never get the moments that should have happened. This is the cruel reality of professional wrestling. Your body is your business. One wrong landing, one awkward bump, one moment of bad luck, and everything you've worked for can be taken away in an instant. No matter how careful you are, no matter how well trained you are, injuries happen. And Becky has been so resilient throughout her career. She's worked through pain before. She's competed when others would have taken time off. She's proven time and time again that she's tough as nails. But even the man has limits. Even the toughest wrestler can't overcome a serious injury through willpower alone. This situation is a reminder that wrestlers are human. They're not superheroes. They can't just shake off everything that happens to them. They get hurt, they need time to heal, and sometimes that means stepping away from what they love. Have you ever had to give up something important due to injury or circumstances beyond your control? How did you cope? Now let's discuss what this means for the women's championship and the division as a whole. Because losing Becky Lynch as champion creates a massive void that's not easily filled. Becky is a draw. She's one of the few women in wrestling who consistently moves the needle. When she's featured prominently, ratings go up. When she's in a storyline, people pay attention. When she's defending the championship, it feels important. So who fills that role now? Who becomes the champion? Does WWE do a tournament? Do they have a battle royal? Do they just award it to the next top contender? Each option has pros and cons. A tournament would be great for showcasing multiple women and creating new storylines. It gives everyone a chance to shine. But it also takes time, and WWE might want to crown a new champion quickly to maintain momentum. A battle royal is quick and creates a chaotic environment where anyone could win. It's unpredictable, but it also feels less prestigious than a tournament or a traditional match. Just naming a new champion or having a one-on-one match is the fastest option, but it might feel like the title is being given away rather than earned. And whoever gets it might face criticism that they only won because Becky got hurt. Who do you think should become the new women's champion? Give me your top 3 choices. Here's what's making me angry about this situation. How many more wrestlers need to get seriously injured before WWE reevaluates their schedule and the physical demands they place on talent? WWE wrestlers work an insane schedule. TV shows, house shows, premium live events, international tours, media appearances, training, the list goes on and on. Their bodies never get a chance to truly recover. They're constantly pushing through minor injuries that become major injuries. Becky Lynch is one of the hardest workers in the company. She rarely takes time off. She's always willing to do extra. She's a company player who says yes when WWE needs her. And what's her reward? A serious injury that forces her to give up the championship. This isn't just about Becky. This is about a systemic problem in professional wrestling where the physical toll is unsustainable. Look at how many wrestlers in their 30s and 40s have the bodies of people in their 60s. Look at how many careers are cut short. Look at how many people retire with permanent damage. Wrestling companies, not just WWE but all of them, need to do better. They need to give talent more time off. They need to be more careful about the spots they're doing. They need to prioritize long-term health over short-term profit. But they won't. Because there's always pressure to deliver. There's always another show. There's always another match. And wrestlers, being the dedicated performers they are, will keep saying yes even when their bodies are screaming no. Do you think WWE pushes their talent too hard? Should there be mandatory rest periods? Tell me your thoughts. Let's talk about Becky's legacy and how this injury might affect it. Because Becky Lynch has already cemented herself as one of the all-time greats. She's been Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, the first ever winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, main event WrestleMania, had a baby and came back stronger than ever. She's the man. She's one of the biggest stars WWE has produced in the modern era. She transcended wrestling and became a mainstream name. She's inspired countless people, especially women, to pursue their dreams. No injury can take away what she's already accomplished. Her legacy is secure. But the question is, how does this chapter end? Does she recover fully and come back for one more run? Does this injury force an early retirement? Does she transition to a part-time role? Becky is only in her mid-30s. She should have years of top-level wrestling left. But serious injuries can change those timelines. They can make returning to peak form difficult or impossible. We've seen it happen to so many wrestlers throughout history. I desperately hope that Becky can fully recover and come back when she's ready. I hope we haven't seen the last of the man in a WWE ring, but I also want her to prioritize her health and her family. She has a daughter who needs her mother healthy and present. Whatever Becky decides, whatever the recovery allows, she'll have the support of millions of fans who appreciate everything she's done for wrestling. What's your favorite Becky Lynch moment? Share it in the comments as a tribute. Here's something we need to consider: is this injury storyline or shoot? Because in wrestling, the line between reality and fiction is often blurred. WWE has been known to take real injuries and work them into storylines. They've also created fake injuries to write people off TV. The reports suggest this is a legitimate injury, but until WWE officially confirms it, until we hear from Becky herself, there's always that question mark. Could this be an elaborate work to set up a surprise return at a major show? Could this be a way to write Becky off TV for personal reasons while maintaining kayfabe? I don't think it's a work. The way it's being reported, the tone from insiders, it all suggests this is unfortunately real. But I've been surprised before. Wrestling has a way of working everyone, even those of us who think we're too smart to fall for it. If it is a work, if this is all part of a storyline, then WWE is playing a dangerous game. Using real injury concerns as storyline fodder is controversial. It makes people genuinely worried about someone's health. That's not cool even if the payoff is good. But if it's shoot, if this is a real injury, then we need to respect Becky's privacy and wish her the best in recovery. We need to be patient and supportive rather than demanding her return before she's ready. Do you think this is a real injury or a storyline? What makes you think that? Give me your detective work. Let's discuss who benefits from this unfortunate situation. Because as heartbreaking as it is for Becky, this creates opportunities for other women on the roster. Someone is going to become the new champion. That person gets a massive spotlight and a chance to prove they belong at the top. This could be a career-defining moment for whoever steps up. Women who are in mid-card feuds suddenly have a chance to move up the card. The vacuum left by Becky's absence means more TV time, more premium live event matches, more opportunities to showcase their skills. This could be the moment that makes a new star. Someone who wasn't in the title picture could emerge from a tournament or battle royal as the next face of the women's division. That's exciting even though the circumstances are terrible. NXT Call UPS might get fast-tracked because WWE needs to fill the void. That means fresh matchups and new energy in the division. From a creative standpoint, writers have a chance to tell new stories and create new dynamics without having to work around Becky's schedule and storylines. That freedom could lead to interesting directions. I'm not celebrating Becky's injury. That would be terrible. But I'm trying to find the silver lining in a dark situation. Wrestling continues. The show goes on. And new opportunities emerge from tragedy. Which woman on the roster is most ready to step into Becky's spot? Who's been waiting for this chance? Here's a tough question: should Becky have taken time off before it got to this point? Were there warning signs that she was pushing too hard? Could this have been prevented? We don't know the specifics of what happened. It could have been a freak accident that nobody could have predicted. But it's also possible that Becky was dealing with minor issues that she pushed through, and they eventually became a major problem. Wrestlers have a culture of toughness. They work through pain. They don't want to be seen as weak or unreliable. They don't want to give up their spot to someone else. So they keep going even when they probably shouldn't. Becky has always been that type of performer. She's tough. She's dedicated. She's not someone who takes time off easily. That's admirable, but it can also be dangerous. Your body needs rest to recover. Pushing through everything eventually catches up to you. WWE should have medical staff monitoring their talent and forcing them to take breaks when necessary. But that's complicated because wrestlers are independent contractors. They have some say in their schedule, and most of them will choose to work even when they shouldn't. It's a systemic problem without an easy solution, but it's a conversation we need to keep having because too many careers are being shortened by preventable injuries. Have you ever pushed yourself too hard and paid the price? What did you learn from that experience? Let's talk about the financial impact of this. Because Becky Lynch is not just a wrestler, she's a brand. She sells merchandise. She draws viewers. She's featured in promotional materials. Losing her for an extended period affects WWE's bottom line. WWE is a publicly traded company now. They answer to shareholders. They need to maintain ratings and revenue. Losing one of their biggest stars creates challenges that go beyond just the creative side. This might affect WWE's programming decisions. They might need to push other stars harder to compensate. They might need to adjust their marketing plans. They might need to rethink their WrestleMania season storylines if Becky was supposed to be a big part of them. For Becky personally, this means lost income. Downside guarantees only cover so much. The real money for top stars comes from bonuses, merchandise, and appearing on shows. Being out injured means missing out on all of that. She has a family to support. She has financial responsibilities. This injury doesn't just affect her physically and emotionally, it affects her financially too. That's another layer of stress she has to deal with during recovery. WWE should take care of their talent during injuries. They should make sure people aren't financially devastated when they get hurt doing what the company asks them to do. But historically, WWE's track record on this has been complicated. Should WWE guarantee full pay for wrestlers during injuries? Or is that asking too much? Business perspective needed. Here's my prediction for what happens next, and you can hold me accountable when we see how this plays out. I think WWE announces a tournament or battle royal to crown a new champion. They'll want to create buzz and give multiple women opportunities to shine. This becomes a major storyline over the next few weeks. I think someone unexpected wins. Not necessarily a complete surprise, but someone who wasn't the obvious choice. WWE will want to create a new star rather than just giving it to the next person in line. I think Becky stays involved somehow. Maybe she does interviews. Maybe she's shown watching from home. Maybe she comments on social media. She won't completely disappear because WWE knows she's valuable even when she can't wrestle. I think the recovery timeline is 4 to 6 months. Long enough that she misses several premium live events but short enough that she could potentially return for a major show like SummerSlam or even a surprise Royal Rumble appearance. I think when she returns, she comes back as a challenger, not immediately back to the title picture. She has to work her way back up, which creates good storylines and prevents her from just picking up where she left off. And I think this injury, as terrible as it is, might actually help Becky long-term by forcing her to rest and recover from accumulated damage. She'll come back refreshed and potentially have an extended career because of this mandatory break. What's your prediction? How do you see this playing out? Fantasy book Becky's return for me. Let me give you my final thoughts on this heartbreaking situation. Becky Lynch being forced to relinquish the championship due to injury is one of the saddest stories in recent wrestling history. Not because of the drama or the spectacle, but because it represents the sacrifice wrestlers make for our entertainment. Becky Lynch gave everything to wrestling. She put her body on the line night after night. She inspired millions. She broke barriers. She became the man through sheer determination and talent. And now her body is telling her it's time to rest. This is a reminder that wrestlers are real people with real bodies that break down. They're not characters on a screen who can just reset for the next episode. They're athletes putting themselves at risk every time they step in that ring. My hope is that Becky takes all the time she needs to fully recover. I hope she prioritizes her health and her family. I hope she comes back only when she's 100% ready, not a moment sooner. The women's division will survive without her. New stars will emerge. The show will go on, but it won't be the same without the man. Her presence, her energy, her star power, all of it will be missed. To Becky Lynch, thank you for everything you've given us. Thank you for the matches, the moments, the inspiration. Get well soon, and know that millions of fans are supporting you. To WWE, take care of your talent. Make sure they're not pushed beyond their limits. Value long-term health over short-term gains. To the women who will step up in Becky's absence, this is your moment. Make the most of it. Honor what Becky built while creating your own legacy. Now I need your voice. What message do you want to send to Becky Lynch? Leave it in the comments. Who should win the championship tournament/battle royal? Make your case. What was Becky's greatest moment as champion? Let's celebrate her run. How long do you think she'll be out? And when would you like to see her return? What storyline should WWE do when Becky comes back? Give me your creative ideas. Smash that like button if you're sending positive energy to Becky Lynch. Subscribe to Wrestling Newsletter because we'll be following her recovery and covering every development. Hit that bell so you don't miss updates. Share this video with every Becky Lynch fan. Let's show the man that she has our support during this difficult time. She's given us so much, now it's our turn to give back. Becky Lynch may be relinquishing the championship, but she'll never relinquish her place in our hearts. Get well soon, Becky. The wrestling world will be waiting when you're ready to return.